I'd like to introduce you to is the ID card. So this is a search that I have performed before. It's for a protein ID, and it shows us the list of all the proteins that are related to that ID, because either it's that protein or it's a homolog of that protein. Now, very often we have the case that people want to build a custom list of proteins or glycans that have some meaning, because we are interested in them in terms of research, or we just want to build a custom table with a certain list of proteins or glycans in them. That's why we have introduced a card where you can collect all the proteins and glycans that you are interested in. So on any search result page, you have these two new buttons, add the list ID, or in this case, add the protein ID, where with the tick boxes, you can select a bunch of proteins that you're interested in. And that also works across multiple searches. So I can get some protein IDs from this search, start a new search, and add more proteins. So for example, if I click here on the add protein, you will see in the top right corner, there's a little card icon with a 9 right now, which means I have 9 elements in my protein card, or in my card, where we have glycans, glycan lists, proteins, and protein lists. And if I click on the protein list, you will see that these 3 IDs that I selected here on the screen and added to the card, we have been added here to my protein list. I can do similar things on the glycan page. What I also can do, if a search result is exactly what you're looking for, like for example, all human proteins, you can just do that search, and then you can add the entire list to your card. So once I click here, add the list ID, I will give that a name. So this is P1210 proteins. And I add that to my card. You can see up here, it has changed from 9 to 10. And then if I go to the protein list, we will see we have 2 lists in here, one that I created yesterday and one that I created just now today. So this is a way how you can collect that information. Also, we have a full screen version of that table as well. And the advantage of the full screen version is it shows you additional information. So for example, if I'm clicking on that link, I will actually go to that search result page that we just still have open in the background, but I can go back to that list at any point of time. So that's also a way how you can kind of bookmark search results. For the glycan list, it will also show us the cartoon. In the small version, it will only have the glycan ID, but if we go full screen, we will also see the cartoons. Glycan lists, again, we can go to that corresponding search results page, and for proteins, it will also have protein name on IDs. So what can you do with that list? One way how you can use that is for bookmarking. If you make a search and you want to show or discuss this with somebody later, you can put that in that card and then via the link, open that search at any point of time later on. What you also can do is you can select one of the lists here and then download that list into an Excel spreadsheet. And that will look like the spreadsheet that we saw earlier with the search results. If you are on the protein page, you can select one or multiple of the protein or all of them, and then download them into an Excel spreadsheet as well. Either all of them or just the selected one. And then it will download that table right here. Similar for glycans and for glycan lists. Another thing that you can do with the proteins and the glycans is you can send them to other tools that we have in GlyGen and use them there. So let's say if we want to do a BLAST search of one of the proteins here, we can select the BLAST tool right here and then say import the information into BLAST. Now that will fail right now because a BLAST only accepts one protein ID and I have selected multiple of them. So what I can do is I can deselect them I can select one protein and then say import that to BLAST. And what happened in the background is, let me just minimize that. It loaded that protein into that BLAST interface. It got the protein sequence, and now we can just click submit, and it will start a new BLAST search for us to explore or perform in the background, and then we can open that. Okay. So it's about the ID card. Again, you can use that to essentially bookmark results. You can use it to collect glycans and proteins that you want to download in a custom list, or you can use that to put store glycans and proteins to use them in another tool. Another way, just before I forget that, another way how you can use that is the GlyGen mapper. So let's say if you download that protein ID list here, these are the proteins that you're interested in, but you only have the UniProt IDs. But let's say for another tool, you need the PDB IDs of that proteins. So you can load them into the GlyGen mapper tool. In this case, we can load all the proteins. And then we can perform a mapping of these proteins from the UniProt accession that we just had there to the PDB IDs. Yep. And then that will trigger a search. And then we will get a table with the proteins and their corresponding PDB accession that we can download. So that's a way how you can use the card for not doing it one protein at a time, but collecting all the proteins first and then just putting them into the tool.